Hey everybody, how's it going? Thanks for stopping by again. Look, if you watched the channel a couple days ago, I made a video about how Justin Trudeau was in effect legitimizing all of the awful stuff happening in Brazil because we have formed a sort of political and trade and diplomatic alliance with that country, despite the fact that Jair Bolsonaro is undertaking actions which are detrimental to the indigenous people of Brazil, to LGBTQ people in Brazil, and to the Amazon rainforest, which will have effects not only in Brazil but beyond it. And despite all of this, we maintain not just, a formal relationship with Brazil, but, a friendly relationship with them. Whether it's Justin Trudeau or Chrystia Freeland, we seek to strengthen our ties to Brazil. Or whether it was our public broadcaster, the CBC, lauding the fact that, Brazil moving to the far right would be good for Canadian capital. And that was why we had to preserve this relationship. The Amazon be damned. Indigenous people be damned. LGBTQ people be damned. This was great for Canadian mining companies. And I talked about how in all of that, Justin Trudeau is complicit. And today, NDP leader Jagmeet Singh really brought that point home. Jagmeet Singh is arguing that Canada, currently trying to negotiate, trade deals with Brazil and with other South American countries, shouldn't be doing so long as Jair Bolsonaro and his political allies in Brazil continue the destruction of the Amazon. They have a goal to destroy the Amazon because they want to use that space for economic development, and also because they want to displace and ultimately liquidate the indigenous population of that country. And while all of this is happening, Canada continues to legitimize the political and economic status quo in Brazil. And Jagmeet Singh is, I think, alone amongst Canadian leaders taking a stand. But he's not alone amongst world leaders. Leaders in France and Ireland, among others, have suggested that they will block trade deals with Brazil if they don't make movement on trying to cut back their attacks on the Amazon. And this is all in addition to the fact that the G7 countries pledged about $20 million to help to fight the forest fires in the Amazon, which was rejected by Bolsonaro. He rejected that aid, showing that he has no desire to stop what's happening. Some have suggested he's causing it, but in any case, even if he isn't, he's using the fires as a political opportunity to achieve his objectives in that country. Whether or not that amount of money was actually enough, many have noted that it's such a token, paltry sum from 7 of the world's richest countries that they really could have done more to offer to Brazil. But in any case, Brazil rejected it, and Jagmeet Singh says we should not legitimize this government. The Liberals have rejected this. The Liberals have said what they've always been saying, which is that our trade deals are the best trade deals, they're the most progressive and inclusive trade deals, blah, 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 blah. But of course, we know the facts as they are. Brazil is not a country right now with any progressive mindset. And as we include trade deals with them along these lines, we are effectively saying to ourselves and to Brazil and to the world that we recognize this country as one that is a decent nation that we can trade freely with, when it's not the case. Now, there is one potential criticism I have of the NDP's position here, and it's not anything to do with the position, but it's the fact that the NDP could be clearer on some of the other elements. The press release focuses largely on the Amazon, which is important, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't so much mention, the role of Bolsonaro in the promotion of far-right ideology in the country beyond environment. It doesn't really mention indigenous people. It doesn't really mention LGBTQ people. Those are rights that the NDP has long stood for, and that the Liberals have stood for less time, but really gain a lot of their image from. Justin Trudeau gained so much credibility from Canadians for being seen as a champion of LGBTQ Canadians, but what does it say when some of our key allies, the people we're trying to forge trade deals with, are attacking those very same communities? The same thing goes with reconciliation. As I noted in my previous video, Justin Trudeau makes such a big deal of building a positive relationship with Indigenous people and communities, and yet we know how disingenuous he's being, and yet again, we know that when he makes deals and alliances with Bolsonaro, he shows us how he really feels about Indigenous people. And I feel like the NDP could be connecting those dots a little bit better. And this is in addition to the fact that the NDP could be clearer on the position around Lula's imprisonment. Lula, the former leader of Brazil, I feel unjustly imprisoned. People like Bernie Sanders and Jeremy Corbyn would agree with me. Many others have noted that one of the reasons Bolsonaro came to power was that Lula, one of the potential challengers to Bolsonaro, was not able to run because of his political imprisonment. And Lula is a broad member of the international left, and the NDP, I feel, could be clearer in showing its solidarity with Lula. Not only is it the right thing to do, but it further connects to the general, instability and injustice of the Bolsonaro regime. It's peppered with ecocide, and it's peppered with mistreatment of indigenous peoples and other minorities and marginalized peoples, and it's peppered with political imprisonment and political intimidation of Bolsonaro's enemies. I mean, he's noted this. He said that, I'm going to attack socialists and leftists and trade unionists. I'm going to do all of this when I become president, and you'll feel my wrath, basically. He's not, hiding any of this, that he wants to attack, to use the state to silence and intimidate his political enemies. And that's not something that flies in Canada, or that we feel should fly in Canada. And this is not just a country we have diplomatic relationships with. This is a country we form strategic and economic alliances with. And so there should be a higher standard. And I feel the NDP could connect all of these strings, all of these dots together in a much more effective way. But it's crucial to note here that the NDP is the only major party in Canada taking a clear stand against Bolsonaro's Brazil, however limitedly and imperfectly. And Justin Trudeau, supposedly the progressive face of Canada, continues to make alliances with extremely troubling people around the globe. This matters in the upcoming federal election, because if Canadians really want to have a policy of progressiveness at home, we have to ensure that the way we reflect ourselves to the world matches that. Because what does it say about our treatment of refugees when we say that Trump's America is a safe country for refugees? Or what does it say about our commitment to LGBTQ and Indigenous Canadians when we align ourselves with people like Bolsonaro? What does it say about our commitment to the environment where we don't hold countries like Brazil to account for their destruction of the environment? And I think it says that Justin Trudeau isn't committed to those issues, even in a partial sense. And I think Jagmeet Singh, while of course not perfect, will offer a bold progressive platform at home in his domestic policy, but will make Canada true to its image globally. That we will be true to our progressive values at home and abroad, and we will defend those values, whether or not it's politically expedient in the moment to moment. And I think that's what makes the NDP different at home, and that's what will make the first federal NDP government in Canadian history different abroad.